All right, let's jump right in. Microsoft has just dropped a bombshell, a critical vulnerability in Windows Remote Desktop Services. And the scary part, it was being actively exploited by attackers before a fix was even available. So, we're going to break down what this is, how it works, and most importantly, what you need to do about it right now. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And with this specific flaw, the answer for a whole lot of systems was, and could still be, a big flashing yes. We're talking about the highest stakes imaginable, total control of your server.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to start with the basics. What are we even talking about when we hear a scary term like zero-day?
Think of it like this. The bad guys find a secret back door into a building before the builders even know it exists. It's called a 0 day because from the moment it's discovered being used, the good guys have literally 0 days to fix it. The attackers already have a head start.
And that's the story with this vulnerability, which has the fancy name CVE 2026-21533. Attackers were already using it out in the wild before Microsoft could push out the fix in their big February update. Now, the good news is, a patch exists now, but the race is on to get it installed everywhere.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does an attacker actually use this thing to take over? Well, it all boils down to a classic technique called elevation of privilege. You know, in plain English, it's a power grab. An attacker gets a tiny foothold on your system, maybe as a basic user who can't do much, and then they use a flaw, like this one, to give themselves a massive promotion, all the way up to being the boss of the entire system. This is a perfect way to picture it. An attacker gets in with a basic library card. They can walk around the main floor, but all the important rooms, the server room, the archives, are locked. This exploit is the magic trick that turns that simple card into a master key that opens every single door. No restrictions. So here's the techie part, but it's pretty straightforward. The attacker, who's already on the machine, just has to change one little thing, a specific registry key for the remote desktop service. By tweaking that key, they basically fool Windows into giving them full system privileges. And that, my friends, is game over. That's the highest level of control you can get. And listen, this isn't just some theory. Adam Myers over at CrowdStrike lays it out plainly. Now that this is public, the clock is ticking. Fast. Any attacker who has the tool for this exploit is going to hit the gas, either using it themselves or selling it to the highest bidder. The pressure is on. Okay, so this brings us to the most important question. Are you at risk? Let's break down the specifics so you can figure out where you stand. Right off the bat, the official score for this thing is a 7.8 out of 10. That puts it squarely in the high severity category. This isn't some minor bug. A 7.8 tells you that the security community is sitting up and paying very close attention to this one. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the breakdown. The attack vector is local, which means an attacker has to already have some kind of access. But, and this is a big but, look at the rest. The complexity is low, the privileges they need to start with are low, and they don't need to trick a user into clicking anything. So once an attacker gets that initial tiny foothold, pulling this off is, frankly, pretty easy. And here's the list. Take a good look. This isn't just one or two niche products. We're talking a huge range, from the newest versions of Windows 11 all the way back to Windows Server 2012 R2. If you see your system on this list, especially if you're using remote desktop services, you really need to be on high alert. Okay, enough doom and gloom, let's talk solutions. This is your game plan. Here's what you need to do to protect your systems from this exact threat. The number one, top of the list, most critical action is simple. Patch your systems immediately. Microsoft has released the fix. Whether you do it through Windows Update or grab it from the catalog, get that February security update deployed. That's how you slam this door shut for good. Now, patching is key, but you can do more. These are smart defensive moves. First, if you don't absolutely need remote desktop services, just turn them off. An attacker can't break in through a door you've bricked up. Always enforce least privilege. Give people only the access they need to do their jobs. Keep an eye on your registry for weird changes. And of course, always test your patches before you roll them out everywhere. It's just smart layer defense. So before we finish up, I want to just zoom out for a second. Let's look at the bigger picture here, because this one vulnerability is actually part of a much, much larger story. Check out this number, 55. That's how many different security flaws Microsoft fixed in that one February update. 55. That single number should give you an idea of the relentless, nonstop battle that's happening behind the scenes just to keep our systems safe. But this is the real kicker.
our little 0 day wasn't alone. It was one of 5 different 0 days in that one update that attackers were already using. 5. This isn't a fluke, this is a trend. The attackers are getting faster and more aggressive. And that really leaves us with this final, critical question. In a world where threats are moving this fast, and attackers are already inside the gates before we know it, what is your first, best line of defense? This whole incident is a pretty powerful wake-up call that having a good answer to that question is more important than ever.